Hey guys, what's up? It's Sky, and this is Food for Thought. So, whew. So, wow. Just to think, this Sunday is going to be 4 months in for comedy. To think that I've been doing this 4 months. And it feels like it's flown by. And it's flown by fast. It doesn't feel like it's been 4 months. It feels like yesterday that I just jumped on stage for the first time. With all the opportunities. Sorry, my favorites are being loud. But it feels like yesterday that I just jumped on stage for the first time. And Monty was... I didn't know who Monty was. And he was like, hey, you have this really... stage presence, you should go on stage. And I'm looking at him like he has 7 heads, like, what are you talking about, dude? I'm not going on stage. And I thought about it, I'm like, okay, maybe I will go on stage. And I did, and I haven't looked back since. And I remember that conversation in my head, like, maybe I shouldn't go on stage, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try. You know, it's funny, what if I didn't go on stage? None of the opportunities I had, none of the things I would be doing right now, nothing would have happened. That's a scary thought. That's a very scary thought to think that none of what would be happening right now would have happened if it wasn't for Monty. And I thank him every day for that. I do. June 19th, 2025 is when I first set foot on stage for my first open mic. That is my anniversary when I started. So, October 19th is my 4-month anniversary, and it's crazy to think that. So we're just gonna go right into it. I have like preset questions that I thought to myself what would be good for Food for Thought. And the first one being, what is my longest set that I've done in the 3 months that I've been doing it? Because we are not quite at 4 months, but so far my longest set right now is 10 minutes. And obviously, as a new comedian, I started at 5. Then I kind of reached to 6, which was like, oh God, an extra minute. And then, then reached to 7, was like, oh God, 2 minutes. God. And then I was at 10. And then it was like, you might as well just give me 20, which was like, oh God. But no, 10 is my longest set right now. And that was, insanely cool to get 10 minutes and feel like it flowed very well. And it did. It flowed very well. It was very nice. And I was very proud of myself for my first 10-minute set. I was very happy with how it turned out. So how do I feel about my journey? Ooh, I missed one. 3 months in and a to be special. Yeah, so I did talk about that in the podcast, but 3 months in and I had a to be special already. So I reached out to somebody who was looking for comics for a to be special. I honestly didn't think she was, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think she was gonna get back to me. I'm like, she's looking for comics who've been doing this, way longer than I have. I'm gonna show her just my YouTube channel. That's not gonna be enough. I'm gonna not lie. I try to amp myself up, like, hey, this is me. But I'm gonna be honest, I've only been doing this 3 months, but here's my stuff, hope you like. And that was it. And that was that. And I didn't think I was gonna hear anything else. And then waited, and then she was like, hey, I like your stuff, you wanna be part of the show? I'm like, sure. And then I was like, well, shit, I don't know what to do. I was not expecting her to say yes. I thought she was going to want somebody way more experienced than me. And I'm not putting myself down for that. But I'm only 3 months in at the time. So what am I supposed to do with that? So then I find out there's supposed to be 20-minute sets. I'm like, I don't have a 20-minute set. I barely have a 10-minute set, and I got to put them together, and they don't really flow together at all. But I can. I practice them, and then I go in the group chat, and all the comics who are better than me, obviously, are like, we cannot do 20-minute sets. Are you kidding me? Like, everybody's going to be asleep by then. And then she's like, okay, fine. We can do 7 to 10 minute sets then. And then I'm like, not freaking out anymore. And then I'm like, oh, okay. I can give you a 7 to 10 minute set then. Fine. I can do that. And then I was cool about that. Then I was less nervous about not doing a 20-minute set because I'm like, I don't have 20 minutes of material. I have 2 10-minute materials that I can mash together and hope and pray it doesn't sound like shit. But that was a very cool experience for only being 3 months in. I was very excited. I can't wait for it to come out. If you want to hear more about it, go watch the podcast. So the next question I have is, how do I feel about my journey? For me, my journey has been what it is, a journey, you know. It definitely has its ups and downs, for me. Emotionally, because it's not ever, for me, so I started, and this is going to backtrack a little, I started off as a horseback rider, okay? So then did that for years, and then it came as a crossroad where I started doing martial arts, and they both started intertwining. Which one did I want to do more? And it was either martial arts or horseback riding or martial arts. So I chose, okay, I'm going to do martial arts more. Great. And then I got fibromyalgia, and I was like, shoot, I want to get my master's at least, which is a 4th degree black belt. And it was getting harder and harder to do it. But I wanted to get my 4th degree. That's why my 4th degree took so long. And so then another crossroad happened where, okay, do I want to keep going with my 4th degree, or do I actually want to start this new journey, which I had never even thought about, doing comedy, or keep going in martial arts, which was a very hard decision because it's like, it's a crossroad. I chose to do a very new journey that I never ever thought I was going to do, which was comedy. That was the crossroad. And it was a new journey, never thought I was going to do, and I chose comedy. I did martial arts. I did martial arts from the time I was 5 years old, but I took a break and then came back at 18 and did it up until about 2 years ago. And then now I'm doing comedy, 3 months in. This has been an emotional journey because it was another crossroad adventure of which way do I want to go with this. So that is why it's been an emotional journey, because I had to choose again, which way do I want to go. And then how is it affecting my personal life? It's a balancing act, because I had to learn very early on, how do I get housework done? How do I personalize work? How do I personalize friends? How do I personalize pets? Did I figure it out? Yes. Was it a challenge? At first, yes. Now it's like second nature. But I learned. It was interesting, though. And finally, have I learned anything from this whole journey? Yes, I've learned a lot. I have not only learned about comedy, but I've learned about myself as a comedian. But I've also learned personally about myself. I've learned a lot about me, Skylar. Just emotionally more about me and how I've grown as a person. And that is something that I never thought comedy was going to show me. My cat is like moving my camera and it's so funny. But I've learned a lot about me, and that is not something that I ever thought comedy was going to bring out of me, is learning more about me and introducing me to me. And it is so cool because I never thought I was going to have to reintroduce myself to myself. And emotionally, that's something that I feel like people find in very different ways. And the fact that comedy was the way I found to meet myself again was very cool. Martial arts did that in a sense. Horseback riding did that in a sense. But comedy did that in a way emotionally that I never thought it would do. So it's very cool. So, but yeah, very good way. And I love food for thought for this reason, that it gets me thinking a lot more emotionally. And I get attached and I get to share my feelings. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Until next time. Bye.